What's up, everyone? I hope you're doing well. We're going to do something fun today. We're going to change the best actor winner for who won the Oscar from 2012 all the way to 2023. The original idea comes from the Film Drunk. I love his channel. Does great work. So full inspiration goes to him. And I'm just excited to do this like he does because I really do like his videos of doing this. So first up, we're going to go from 2012. 2012 was a very interesting year because the actor in the leading role, we had Jean Dujardin for The Artist, Demi Bichir for A Better Life, George Clooney for The Descendants, Gary Oldman for Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, and Brad Pitt for Moneyball. And our winner here was Jean Dujardin for The Artist. You know, The Artist is one of those films where I actually like a lot of scenes in that one, but I think the film as a whole misses a lot of points in there. And I feel like a better film that tries to tell that kind of story would be Babylon, which got fully dismissed at the Oscars the past year. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about 2012. This was a very interesting year. I think the lineup was kind of weak this year. There wasn't a lot going on here, but I think we have a good lineup here for two of our nominees to go against each other, which is Jean and Brad Pitt for Moneyball. And I would say my pick for this one would be Brad Pitt for Moneyball. Sure, it's just an amazing film. Moneyball is one of those films where I first watched it like 2 years ago. I absolutely loved it, and I feel like it gets better on every single rewatch. Love that film, and I think Brad Pitt, oh my gosh, I think that's one of his best performances. I think he does a wonderful job there, and I think that, yeah, I think he should have won there. I think I would change that winner, and I would give the Best Actor award to Brad Pitt in that one. Now we got 2013, where the competition gets a little bit better. We had Daniel Day-Lewis for Lincoln, Bradley Cooper for Silver Linings Playbook, Hugh Jackman for Les Mis, Joaquin Phoenix for The Master, and Denzel Washington for Flight. And the winner here was Daniel Day-Lewis for Lincoln. We all expected it. Daniel Day-Lewis is just a fantastic actor. I think one of the best actors we ever had. And Lincoln was a very impressive movie from Spielberg. Very impressive biopic to really go for the character of Lincoln. Because Lincoln, that's a hard one to do for a biopic. Like, I'm very impressed that Spielberg made that movie. Daniel Day-Lewis brought such a great performance here. But Bradley Cooper also did pretty well in Silver Linings Playbook. Gotta say, I think that he did an amazing performance there. But I don't think he's as good as Daniel Day-Lewis. Hugh Jackman for Les Mis. Hugh Jackman, as I said, great performer, but I don't know if Les Mis is really the one that would get him the Oscar right there. Joaquin Phoenix, though, I think is one of those performances that you can rival Daniel Day-Lewis, because Joaquin Phoenix is kind of like Daniel Day-Lewis. They both kind of like method act in their own way, and I think that's one of the performances here that I kind of like think it competes against Daniel Day-Lewis in a little bit. And then you have Denzel Washington for Flight, which is kind of an interesting pick for them to do there. Even though I think it's a great Denzel performance, I just think the movie just is really different from all the other movies that were nominated here. But you know, if I were to change the winner here from Daniel Day-Lewis, I really wouldn't. I would keep the winner the same. My pick would be Daniel Day-Lewis for Lincoln because his performance here was absolutely stunning. So yeah, I would keep the pick the same. Daniel Day-Lewis for Lincoln should definitely have won that. Next up, we got 2014. We got Matthew McConaughey for Dallas Buyers Club, Christian Bale for American Hustle, Bruce Dern for Nebraska, Leonardo DiCaprio for The Wolf of Wall Street, and Chiwetel Ejiofor for 12 Years a Slave. And the winner here was Matthew McConaughey for Dallas Buyers Club. I think Dallas Buyers Club is a really good film, and I think it's Matthew McConaughey's one of his best performances, maybe his best. I might have something better than that, but I think that his performance here was absolutely stunning in the story that was told. Christian Bale for American Hustle. I think that's a good performance. I'm not really sure if I would put it in like the best performances of the year for that. Chiwetel Ejiofor, though, I think that's a really great performance. Amazing performance in an amazing film. I love the story that was told. It was told in a very gentle way that I really appreciated. And I think Chiwetel, I think he's a great actor. Kind of underrated. Not a lot of people really talk about him. So if I was to really think here, Matthew McConaughey, he would have even been my top two. My top two would be Chiwetel Ejiofor and Leonardo DiCaprio for The Wolf of Wall Street. I do love me some Wolf of Wall Street. I know it's kind of a divisive film now because a lot of people hate how a lot of people act when they talk about it, but I think it's a great film. Martin Scorsese really went for it, and Leonardo DiCaprio really went all out for this performance. He really hit all the marks here, but Chiwetel Ejiofor went for the emotions, which I can really appreciate. But my pick for this would be Leonardo DiCaprio for The Wolf of Wall Street. I think Matthew McConaughey is great, but I think Leonardo DiCaprio really did deserve the Oscar that year because he just put in so much work to that performance. Next up is 2015. We got Eddie Redmayne for The Theory of Everything, Steve Carell for Foxcatcher, Bradley Cooper for American Sniper, Benedict Cumberbatch for The Imitation Game, and Michael Keaton for Birdman. And the winner here was Eddie Redmayne for The Theory of Everything. I think The Theory of Everything is a really interesting film and a really interesting performance from Eddie Redmayne, like something that I've never seen him do before. And Bradley Cooper for American Sniper, I think it's great. I don't know if I'd put him anywhere near all the other four. And let me just say, I think the top three are competing here for Eddie Redmayne would be Benedict Cumberbatch, Imitation Game, Michael Keaton for Birdman. I really would have assumed that Michael Keaton would have won this over Eddie Redmayne. I'm really surprised the Academy didn't vote for Michael Keaton, because that movie is literally like a stunning piece of work. I don't think it's like amazing. I don't have it as like one of my favorite films. I think I have it like it's a 3.5 or a 4-star, but the craft of that film is absolutely insane. How they do one takes and how they hide the cuts, absolutely insane. Michael Keaton though, really great performance in that. But I don't know, I think I would have to go with Benedict Cumberbatch here. Benedict Cumberbatch in The Imitation Game just had so much emotion there, and his character in that one had a lot of things going for it. And just the movie as a whole, I think it's a great movie. I think it's very accessible to a lot of people, and I think you could learn a lot from that movie. As I said, Benedict Cumberbatch, he kind of changed his performance in that movie. I can appreciate that. Eddie Redmayne did also, but the winner was Eddie Redmayne, but my pick would actually be Benedict Cumberbatch for The Imitation Game. For 2016, we had Leonardo DiCaprio for The Revenant, Bryan Cranston for Trombone, Matt Damon for The Martian, Michael Fassbender for Steve Jobs, and Eddie Redmayne once again for The Danish Girl. The winner was Leo DiCaprio for The Revenant. And you know, I'm happy that Leonardo DiCaprio got his win, but he got the win for the wrong movie. The Revenant wasn't the one he was supposed to win for. It was The Wolf of Wall Street. It was right there, Academy. You could have gave him the win for that movie, but they went and gave him the win for The Revenant. Kind of because probably they thought he was due for the win, but also because they didn't know who to give it to, because this kind of lineup is kind of interesting. You have some really interesting movies here. And you also have another biopic with Michael Fassbender's Steve Jobs. I don't really like this one as a lot of other people. I think Michael Fassbender does give a really great performance though. But my actual pick for this one would be Matt Damon. Instead of Leo, I would go for Matt Damon. I love Matt Damon's performance in The Martian. I thought he did an excellent job, and I love the movie. I'm a science fiction nerd, so maybe it's just me loving the movie, but I loved Matt Damon. I thought he did great in this movie. He showed a lot of charisma, a lot of emotion in certain scenes. And he was just by himself for a lot of the filming. Not a lot of cast members were by him because he's trapped on Mars. Who is he going to talk to here? Some robots? But yeah, my pick for the best winner would be Matt Damon for The Martian. Next up, we got 2017. We got Casey Affleck for Manchester by the Sea, Andrew Garfield for Hacksaw Ridge, Ryan Gosling for La La Land, Viggo Mortensen for Captain Fantastic, Denzel Washington for Fences. The winner of this one was Casey Affleck for Manchester by the Sea. I totally get why they chose Casey Affleck. Such an emotional and power performance by him in here. And Manchester by the Sea is a hard movie to watch. I watched it for the first time like last year. Really hard movie to watch. I give it like a 4 out of 5. I think it's great, but I don't know if I would ever go back to watch it again. Maybe once in a while, but yeah, it's a hard movie to put on. But this one actually has a lot of great performance in here. Denzel Washington, Viggo Mortensen, Ryan Gosling, Andrew Garfield. My top 3, I think, if I had to choose, it would be Casey Affleck or Andrew Garfield or Ryan Gosling. I think those 3 are just a little bit better than the other 2. But you know, even though my favorite actor of all time is Ryan Gosling, I think he gives an amazing performance in La La Land, one of my favorite movies of all time. I don't know if that one's like, I mean, it is a leading role, but it doesn't feel like a leading role a lot of times. It more feels like a supporting actor role. Even though it isn't a lot of the movie, I think that Emma Stone really does just shine as the lead of that movie compared to Ryan Gosling. Even though I love him, his performance is amazing. Even though Casey Affleck did win this one, my pick would be Andrew Garfield for Hacksaw Ridge. I think he gave an amazing performance, and I just love Andrew Garfield in that movie. Next up, we had 2018, Gary Oldman, The Darkest Hour, Timothée Chalamet, Call Me By Your Name, Daniel Day-Lewis, Phantom Thread, Daniel Kaluuya, Get Out, and Denzel Washington once again. The winner of this one was Gary Oldman for The Darkest Hour. I think The Darkest Hour, I think it's a really good film. Gary Oldman turns in a terrific performance, as always. I think they just wanted to give it to him so they could give him a win. Timothée Chalamet, though, really great performance by him. I'm really happy that he got in and was nominated for Call Me By Your Name. Because sometimes I feel like the Academy won't accept a movie like that because it is kind of like, you know, the Academy. They're kind of weird sometimes with these kind of movies. But I think Call Me By Your Name is a fantastic movie, fantastic story. The book is also fantastic. Daniel Day-Lewis, though, in this, I'm surprised he didn't win because he gives a great performance in a movie that I don't like a lot. I mean, I can say that his performance is great, but I don't like Phantom Thread that much. I think it's pretty boring. Maybe I didn't get it, but I can respect you guys if you liked it and watched it. But, you know, since Gary Oldman did win this, I'm not going to pick Gary Oldman, even though I think it's great. I'm going to pick my favorite performance, which is Daniel Kaluuya in Get Out. You know, Daniel Kaluuya pulled out all the stops for this one. His performance here was amazing. The movie was amazing. So, yeah, my pick would be Daniel Kaluuya for Get Out. 2019, we had Rami Malek for Bohemian Rhapsody, Christian Bale for Vice, Bradley Cooper for A Star is Born, Willem Dafoe at Eternity's Gate, Viggo Mortensen back again for Green Book. The winner here was Rami Malek for Bohemian Rhapsody. A lot of people hate this one because Rami Malek, like, they didn't like how he looked in this one, and they didn't like how the film just kind of won a decent amount of awards, even though it even won Best Editing, and the editing is kind of atrocious for this film. Rami Malek, though, I don't think he should have won, but I think he gave an amazing performance. You know, it's kind of hard to do a biopic like that, and I think he did a great job. But, you know, I don't think he should have won for that one. Christian Bale for Vice, I think that's an awesome pick if they were to pick that one. But, you know, my pick for this one would be pretty short. It would be Bradley Cooper for A Star is Born. I think he was overdue for a win, and I think he should have won for that one. Next up is 2020. We had Joaquin Phoenix for Joker, Antonio Banderas for Pain and Glory, Leonardo DiCaprio for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Adam Driver for Marriage Story, and Jonathan Pryce for The Two Popes. The winner was Joaquin Phoenix. I think Joaquin Phoenix is amazing. Happy that Leonardo DiCaprio got nominated for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think that movie is amazing. His performance is really funny. He had a lot of parts, even when he's using the flamethrower. I absolutely love that performance and the movie. Adam Driver Marriage Story, that's an interesting one. I'm surprised the Academy didn't vote for that, because it's surprising that Joaquin Phoenix did win for Joker. It's a comic book movie. It's a dark one. It's a very interesting, delicate performance that they're really going for here. Joaquin Phoenix, as I said, amazing actor. So he won, and my pick would also be Joaquin Phoenix for Joker. 2021, we had Anthony Hopkins for The Father, Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal, Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Gary Oldman for Mank, Steven Yeun for Minari. The winner here was Anthony Hopkins for The Father. A truly devastating performance there, emotional movie. Riz Ahmed, though, I really did love his performance in Sound of Metal, and that movie actually got me really emotional. I think a lot of movies in 2021 got me really emotional. The movies that came out in 2020 that were nominated for 2021 got me so, I don't know, it was just a very sad year because of what was going on with COVID and just the amount of movies. There wasn't a lot, but some of the movies were just really sad, especially Chadwick Boseman. Man, it's so sad what happened to him, how he passed away. But Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, another really sad movie at some points. Gary Oldman for Mank, I'd never seen Mank, so I didn't really have a lot to say, but a lot of people don't like it. Steven Yeun for Minari, great movie. Steven Yeun, amazing actor. But I think the winner here was Anthony Hopkins, and my pick would also be for Anthony Hopkins for The Father. For 2022, we had Will Smith for King Richard, Javier Bardem for Being the Ricardos, Benedict Cumberbatch for The Power of the Dog, Andrew Garfield for Tick, Tick, Boom, Denzel Washington for The Tragedy of Macbeth. The winner here was Will Smith for King Richard. I think King Richard's a great film. Will Smith, though, I don't think he should have won. That's what I'm going to say. Even though he did do the slap, I still don't think he should have won if he didn't do the slap. I don't think his performance was as great as some of them here. He's not in my top two either. It's either between Benedict Cumberbatch or Andrew Garfield. I think Benedict Cumberbatch was simply amazing in Power of the Dog. His subtle performance right there was great. I think The Power of the Dog, though, slow at times, but I think it's a great film. But yeah, my winner would probably be Andrew Garfield for Tick, Tick, Boom. He literally learned to sing for that one. His performance was off the charts in that movie, simply off the charts. That movie surprised the heck out of me, his performance there. He also had some big emotional moments in that one. But him just learning to sing and do all those choreography kind of moments, great. So my pick for this one would be Andrew Garfield for Tick, Tick, Boom. And last but not least, we have 2023. We had Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Austin Butler for Elvis, Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin, Paul Mescal for Aftersun, and Bill Nighy for Living. The winner here was Brendan Fraser as in The Whale. And I think that this is a decent win. I think they kind of just gave it to him. Even though the performance is great, I think they gave it to him because he had a comeback. You know, he had a big comeback. He hasn't been acting for a while. And he had this big movie with a great performance. But I don't think that he should have won. That's a hot take, maybe. I don't think he should have won. He is not even my top two. My top two was Austin Butler and Colin Farrell for Banshees. Paul Mescal, I think, gave a great performance. Bill Nighy, I never watched The Living. People said his performance was pretty great. So maybe that. But Bill Nighy would have been my last place. But for this one, it's either between Austin Butler and Colin Farrell. Austin Butler did a great job. I think that Elvis is a great movie too. I loved all the musical scenes. I loved the editing of it. A lot of people don't like it. I think the editing was just made for me. I love that part. But my pick would probably be Colin Farrell for Banshees. He really gave such an emotional performance. Brendan also gave an emotional performance, but I think the emotions really got out of me with Colin Farrell, how he was able to tell his kind of story with his acting. I just loved kind of his subtle take on it, and it wasn't really like one of those movies that a lot of people watched. I mean, a lot of people watch The Whale. Not a lot of people I know watch Banshees, but it's just an incredible story about just two friends. Just like one friend doesn't want to be another's friend anymore. You know, Colin Farrell had to deal with that. His character really had to deal with all those struggles, and he lost Jenny the donkey. Come on, that scene was like the most emotional scene of last year. It was just terrible. I hated that scene when she died. It was terrible. But Colin Farrell would be my pick for the 2023 Oscar. I think he gave a terrific performance. Okay, that's all of my Oscar changes from 2012 all the way to 2023. I changed a couple of them. I changed actually most of them, kept only a couple of them the same. Let me know down in the comments which ones would you have changed from the past years. The Academy sometimes gets it wrong because they're sometimes kind of biased and sometimes kind of weird. We can all agree with that. But yeah, leave your personal opinions down below in the comments. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.